Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Corman Productions, here to talk about This Is Us, Season 1, Episode 12, The Big Day. This is actually going to be a much shorter video than my typical rewatch and commentary videos of the series. I've imagined in my past that I was going to be skipping this episode in its entirety. But since I have committed to do every episode of this series, I've decided to explain exactly why this is not one of my favorite episodes. In fact, it's pretty close to the bottom. Now, to be clear, there are no bad episodes of This Is Us. There are just episodes that I don't particularly care for, like this one. There are times in this series when the writers and creators of this show threaten to disappear up their own butts. And this, right here, is an example of it. With their obsessive need to tie everything and anything together, which, granted, is the premise of this series, but here they go a little too far. At least in my view. This episode has the rare distinction of occurring all in one timeline. Specifically the past timeline, just before the big three are born. Erling K. Brown, Chrissy Metz, and Justin Hartley all take the episode off. I remember saying when I did the first ever episode of this series that eventually Dr. K and the fireman who shows up in the last 5 seconds of this episode each get their own episodes. Well, as it turns out, I remembered incorrectly. They didn't get their own episodes, they got their own threads, and this is the episode in which those take place. Apparently, before going to the hospital, the fireman took a detour to his house, thinking that Randall would help save his marriage. And I struggle to care. We've only seen this guy for 5 seconds in the pilot episode, and we're never going to see him again after this. It's not like we're ever going to have more characterization for this guy. So why do I care? Why are we spending time on this? There are so many things in this series that have yet to be explored. For instance, we have never seen how Rebecca and Miguel got together. But we can waste time exploring the firefighter's character that, once again, we are never going to have explored again. This is the kind of thing that you do in season 20 of your show when you run out of ideas, not in your first season. I get what they were going for. They were trying to show how William's actions and Randall's existence impacted others, even if unintentionally, and how everything connects. Like I said, I get what they were doing, I just don't particularly care for it here. A little bit better, actually quite a bit better, is Dr. K's thread, which basically serves as his origin story of how exactly he ended up being Jack and Rebecca's doctor. Unlike the fireman character in this episode, we've actually spent some time with Dr. K, and we will see more of him in the future. It's a relatable, affecting story about his basically dealing with his grief of losing his wife. At the same time, it didn't really hold my interest. It wasn't all that compelling to me. I kind of like my Dr. K interacting with Jack and Rebecca. But at the very least, the story was about someone that we actually know and have spent time with. The Jack and Rebecca story, which is just before the big three was born, is actually pretty funny. Rebecca is very pregnant and very hormonal and acting crazy, driving Jack nuts, and eventually ends up sending Jack on his way, unknowingly treating him horribly on his birthday. But it eventually dawns on her, and she tries to make up for it. If this were the past storyline, while we were also watching Kevin or Kate and Randall, this would have made for a very fine episode. I don't really like episodes where the big three are sidelined. I didn't enjoy it very much in the Season 4 premiere, and I don't enjoy it very much here. The present day timeline is where my interest lies, really, when it comes down to it. I want to know what Kevin, Kate, and Randall are up to. Well, not Kevin so much, because currently he's in the part of the season where he's pretty much annoying the crap out of me with his lackluster storylines. When I do episode 13 of this series, I will once again be ignoring his plotline. At any rate, I think that's all I have to say for this episode. I told you it was going to be a short one. I was considering doing a blow-by-blow description like I usually do, but I was going to be bored doing it, and that would come out in my commentary. So I opted to do this instead. If you like this video and want to support my channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join my Corn Productions Facebook group, as well as my This Is Us discussion Facebook group. You can buy something from the Corn Productions store on Zazzle, and of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribing to my channel. This is Dave from Corman Productions, signing off.